You see, we don't understand all that's going on around us. We see such unhappiness and loneliness and hostility that we can't seem to do anything about. And not to be unhappy and tormented by such. The only solution is you're trusting in God. I can't think of another solution. We do I was going to say our utmost, but it's not even that, because we don't have the will and the understanding. We can't be sure what our utmost is to help. But when we see some of the unhappiness around us, our only solution is to trust in God. Or else it plagues our minds. Now, if you're a person who's been practicing thankfulness to God, you know of the miracles in your life, the synchronicities, the blessings, the good things, the provisions. So much that you can be thankful for to God. And that thankfulness is the blessing. It's your thankfulness that is the real blessing, which He's bringing about by you thinking on whatsoever is good and lovely and thanking Him for it. It is the gratitude within you that gives you the trust. You see, you feel so cared for by God, our Heavenly Dad, that you can trust Him for all the apparent problems and actual problems that are around you, on the understanding that such a wonderful God is truly doing what is for the best, despite how it looks from our impoverished understanding of His will and His ways. And in spite of this lack, this poverty of knowing, of understanding, He showers on us all these kindnesses each day and provisions and gifts that we detect by our thankfulness, our habit of being thankful, our habit of seeing the good, not just the bad. Because we can become so preoccupied with the bad because just how bad it looks to us, given we don't have His understanding. Now, we're children, until we are adults, we don't have His understanding. So what is absolutely right and wonderful with Him seems like a lack to us, something that needs to be done and put right. I'm told that when I was young, first with Mum, which was somewhere around, for about 6 months I was with Mum at about the age of 3. And then I was not well and went into hospital. I think it was then. I don't know at the time. But anyway, we were in the street and I'm following behind her, a long way behind her, saying, "You've got plenty of money, buy me that." And it was a lorry, a truck that I want, a toy truck that I wanted her to buy me, apparently. Do you see, I didn't understand in that situation that my lack was not really an important lack at all, and that my great wealth was that this mum of mine loved me with all her heart. And although I was whining and moaning and telling her off, loved me so much that she still loved me. Didn't take offence, despite the fact I was causing her great harm. I'm reminded of another situation when I was taking revenge on Dad for what I perceived as his unkindness to Mum when she was ill from hospital, convalescing. And I shouted at him all the way to the station. He was walking to work. I kept out of range, of course, so he couldn't get me. And he just had to put up with it. Well, his response was not too loving, of course. He was going to take out an injunction from me and with the court. I think I don't know, I was of age, I was 18, so I think I was technically sort of an adult. But he withdrew it in the end, but relationships between him and Mum had deteriorated so much, and well, things just took their course. But even so, he did stop taking the action against me, legal action. I was still living in the home, you understand. It was a very tense and difficult time. But you see, I didn't understand. I mean, I did understand that he was being horrible to Mum, but I didn't understand the totality of the situation that him and Mum were in, and what their needs, perceived needs were, and you know, I didn't have God's mind on it, did I? If only we could trust him in all situations, we would avoid so many mistakes, so many actions that actually are not appropriate, although we think they are. Now, I do realise I don't want to risk a trust that makes me impervious to the needs of those around me. I'd rather be taking delight in responding and meeting such needs as I am able, that I be part of God's true blessing, not blankly stressing as if he were not wonderful, all kindness and all ability. Do you see, we should relax more in our trust, and the trust needs to be there, and we can put it there by being more and more aware of all that's good and lovely and thinking on these things and reminding ourselves that as far as we know but for him, none of this creation would even exist, nor we ourselves. So may I trust you, Dad, with all my heart and soul, mind and strength. Love you in a gratitude that is aware of, enough of your loving kindness to make that so. So I thank you, Dad, for everything that I can detect that is good and lovely and a blessing, that I may grow in overwhelming gratitude to you, able to trust in you with all my being, Father, to love you, Dad, to be ever in your wonderful friendship, so blessed by knowing you, Lord God, being ever overwhelmingly aware of your presence and love and kindness always. May I somehow encourage this in those around, that I be part of your loving kindness in your creations. Dearest one, love you. Thank you, Dad. I still think the Merlin Crothers thing is the final miraculous blessing, which is to thank him for the difficulty. Thank him for the thing as you see it, this old soul's loneliness and desperation. That you know that in large measure you can't put right. So you say to yourself very simply, my God is all powerful, all loving, all powerful. If this lady is suffering, it has to be therefore because he's allowing it to good purpose. After all, take the other extreme, he could have annihilated instantly, no longer existing. You know, if her life is not any value to her at all, but only suffering, and not in some way greatly blessing her, he could end it, or he could change it. I mean, he could make her a young woman again, instantly. Or, you know, if you think along reincarnation lines, he could have her die this very moment without pain or suffering, and have her born again as some happy person with all the opportunities of life. If you really trust him that he's all powerful and all loving and all powerful, and you trust that he could do this because of all the blessings you've seen in your life, you can trust that what you don't understand is nonetheless being catered for wonderfully, not miserably neglected, as the person feels. In other words, they must be feeling it for a good reason, for a blessing. I don't want this to make us, in some sense, uncaring, but somehow to hold the caring in understanding that you are sent not to heal everybody of their apparent and declared woes. You're sent to tell them about the goodness of God. If they have ears to hear. That's a surprise, isn't it? I think that's the strange thing about the Christian gospel, really. And it's not particularly the Christian gospel, of course. It's the Jesus story. The Christian view is, oh, we're